Hi, this is Sung. I'm your online maths mentor, and we're going through extension 1 trigonometry. Yeah, so that's the chapter that we're going through, and we have done up until now, we've done the compound angle formulae for sine, cos, and tan for the sum and difference of angles, and we've also done the double angle formulae, right? Or the double angle formula for sine, cos, and tan of a double angle, right? And that becomes each of those double angles becomes what's on the right in respect to their formula. Okay. What I want to do now is look at some more formula, but these formulae are optional. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them unless you're also doing extension 2, although they are good to know. Okay, and they're the two types of formula that we'll be learning is product as a sum or difference. All right, so the product of sine and cos as a sum or a difference of a sine and cos ratio, or the other one that we're going to be doing is sum or difference as a product. Okay, so let's have a look at how this works. And really, the basis for doing these formulas or deriving these formulas comes from understanding our compound angle formulas. Okay, so let's have a look. All right, what we're going to do, I've actually labeled each of these compound angle formulas as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at what happens when we take formula 3 away from formula 4. Right, when we do that, what we'll find is we end up getting another formula. All right, being one of the product as sum or difference formulae. So let's have a look. So let's have a look at the first one, which is equation number 3, or the formula number 3, which is, and I'm going to write it this way, right? So I'm going to go sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B, and that's equal to, what is it? Sine A plus B, and that's formula number 3, right? So let me write that down. So that's formula number 3, and we're going to take away formula number 4. So let's do that. So formula number 4 is sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B, and that's equal to sine A minus B. Does that make sense? And that's formula number 4. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away formula 3. Sorry, take away formula 4 from formula 3. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to minus this. So we're going to minus that and work that out. So we're going to minus, and that minus applies to everything inside formula 4, right? So what happens is sine A, cosine B, sine A, cosine B, when we minus those, that becomes a big fat 0, okay? So that becomes 0. Now minus and a minus become, or minus and a negative become plus, right? So you got cosine A, sine B, you add them together, all right? Because of the minus make a plus, you get 2 lots of cosine A sine B, yep. And that's equal to that minus that. So it's sine of A plus B minus sine of A minus B. And that really is the product, right? Turning a product into a sum of 2 trig ratios. Got it? All right. So that's the first one that we need to know. So let's write that down. 2 cosine A sine B equals to sine A plus B minus sine A minus B, and that is the first product as a sum formula. Let's have a look at the second one. For the second one, we're going to consider equation 3 plus equation 4. So let's write that again. So what we have is sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B equals to sine A plus B And then you've got sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B equals to sine A minus B, right? And so you've got, this is equation 3 again, and this is equation 4. And what that becomes when we add it, all right, we add, and we're adding all of that, that plus that becomes 2 sine A cosine B. Now that and that, when we add it, they cancel out, which leaves you sine A plus B, which is that, plus sine A minus B, which is that. Got it? And that is your second product as a sum or difference. So let me just write that down. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, this time with equations 1 and 2. So let's do that, right? And we're going to subtract equation 1 from equation 2. So let's have a go. So we've got cosine A cosine B plus sine A sine B equals to cosine A minus B cosine A cosine B minus sine A sine B equals to cosine. So that's equation 1, that's equation 2. Let's subtract, which means that we put a minus in front of all of that. So cosine A cosine B minus cosine A cosine B, they're going to cancel out. The negative and the negative become positive. When we add those two together, it becomes 2 sine A sine B, and that's going to be equal to cosine A minus B, and that become minus as well, minus cosine A plus B. So you've got 2 sine A sine B equals to cosine A minus B minus cosine. All right, so now let's look at the last one. Yeah, the last one is, this time we're adding 1 and 2. So we can pretty much write the same thing, but we're going to add. So let me come around this side. All right, and this time we're adding. Okay, so let's add all of that together. So that plus that gives you 2 cos A cos B. That's going to cancel with that, leaving you cos A minus B plus cos A plus B. Cool. So they're the 4 formulae that you need to know to go from the product, right? Product to sum or difference, okay? Being the sum of the signs or the differences of the signs, sum of the cos or the differences of the cos, okay? Good. Thank you very much for watching.